Arsenal had registered their interest, but I'd said, we can't speak to you. And then once that appeared on Sky Sports News, then it was like, okay, then let's talk. But, some of the big guns had said, some of the very big guns, a couple of them had said, we're not waiting for your decision. But clubs that did hang around were the likes of Barcelona and Inter Milan. Barcelona pushed it all of the way. Barcelona came to London.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was going to end up.
We had meetings. There was, I flew over to Barcelona, and then all I do was just get the information, bring it to Sol. Barcelona offered a deal that was unbelievable compared to what people was earning.
Unbelievably good
then.
or unbelievably bad?
Unbelievably good. Unbelievable. I mean, they were laying out the red carpet for him to go there. Inter Milan offered a absolutely incredible deal as well. And when you're an agent, if you get swayed by money, this is where you make a mistake, right? So, at that time, I knew that no one was going to pay him what Barcelona and Inter Milan were going to pay him. No one was going to give me the commission what they were saying. But I just stayed calm. I was like, whatever's best for him football-wise. And then a meeting with Wenger and the legend that is David Dein. Arsene Wenger said to him, look, you can come to us if you want, but don't make a decision on hate. Make it for what's best for your career, for football. Don't do it on hate, because obviously in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, this could be controversial.
Yeah, how does a captain of a Premier League captain leave for a rival? That takes a lot of courage, I guess.
Every player that is at the top of their game, and I could name some players now, but I don't want to, but they want to go to whoever's winning.
Yeah.
So some people are attracted by Man City because Man City are winning at the moment. Attracted to Liverpool because Liverpool are winning at the moment. It so happened that at that time, Arsenal were winning at the moment, right? And they needed a player like him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
timing was everything for that.
From a pure football point of view, he would sit in front of me and we would talk, and he would ask me what I thought. And I said to him, look, the thing is, at the end of the day, is that when you stop playing football, a lot of people just aren't going to care. It's like, what is the best for you football-wise, And David Dein, I think that, if it hadn't been David Dein and Arsene Wenger in situ at that time, I don't think he would have gone.
So from what you're telling us, Barcelona offered more money.
Twice as much
More money, and he chose Arsenal purely for footballing reasons.
Purely for footballing reasons. And
the other thing, Barcelona at that time were a pretty decent team.
Yeah, they were. But, David Dein was such an unbelievable operator, Once, football's big business, small world. And once people realised that they couldn't buy me and they couldn't influence me in every way, it took some time. Obviously, people tried to buy me, they tried to influence me, because me and Sol were very confidential. The only person he sort of listened to was me. And so I had to make sure that I got this right for him,
Sure.
And
this was his big move.
And I see agents prancing around, but none of them will put their neck on the line for the client. Some of them wouldn't put it. I generally put my neck on the line for my client, because from a commission point of view, I was getting a quarter of what I could have got somewhere else. From a negotiation standpoint for him, he was always going to get more money going somewhere else.
Yeah.
From a point of view of being the guy that negotiated that deal, I'm putting my neck on the line, because I know that sometimes with clubs, if you don't do what they say, they won't deal with you anymore, or you're going to get hate mail, you're going to get death threats, you're going to get all of this stuff. But I was determined to make sure that the best decision was made for him without all the noise. Cut out the noise, cut out the money. What is the best place for you to go and play football? So that's how I protected him.
Yeah.
So then he could make a clear decision. A lot of footballers these days, they can't make clear decisions because people are influenced
and they're influenced by money rather than the career.
Yeah, and
Because
they're partisan.
Yeah.
They're this and that, and clubs know now they can control most agents. They just need to say to them, "Here's some money," and the agent will go and tell the client to do whatever. Yeah. But what we got to remember is that he was a free agent, right?
Yeah.
And
he was one of the first free agents. It wasn't that long after the Bosman ruling.
Yeah, there was McManaman before him, but he was the main thing. And everyone's got a job to do. A club's job is to make sure that they get their best players signed on contracts.
Okay.
That's their job, right?
Yeah.
My job is to do the best for my client. No one can criticise him that once he's out of contract, then he has to do what's best for his football career.
Sure. And he was out. His contract ended end of June, was it?
Yeah, it's 30th of June.
30th of June, and it was announced on the 3rd of July.
But from the 1st of January, he can speak to clubs, yeah?
Sure.
Yeah.
But you didn't start those conversations until Spurs announced what they did on Sky Sports and leaked a news story that wasn't true. So at what point did Spurs know he was coming to Arsenal? Was it when we all knew?
Nobody knew until the date was announced, right?
So but not even Alan Sugar was gone by then. Levy didn't know.
No, the thing is, it's not my issue.
It wasn't their issue because he was out of contract at Spurs.
He was out of contract, but what I can say is that the situation, whatever we were doing, was majorly confidential. People were speculating, but once we said we're going to speak to people, and it was mainly me having the discussions with Wenger and Dean. They would speak to me, and then they would be like, right, we want to speak to the player, and I'd be like, you can't speak to him at the moment. So it was literally, we went into May, and he still hadn't spoken to anybody. He hadn't spoken to anyone. All the information he'd got was from me giving him the information, and I'd say, look, Arsenal said this, Barcelona said this, Inter Milan said this, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich said this, and he would just listen. But he is a solid character,
Sure.
I mean, he received and receives a lot of abuse still from mostly Tottenham fans. Did you receive any abuse?
Oh God, yeah. I had death threats. I had some racial stuff said to me. A lot of people show their true colours when they're not happy with a decision.
Yeah.
I had the moment I switched my phone on after the thing, people that were sort of associates of mine, they went crazy as well. But so we had I had talks with Dean and Wenger who were just so impressive. David Dean is just a different level. David Dean is in the top 3 quality people that I've had dealings with.
And who are the other 2? Can you say?
Well, no.
He's talking about you and me, Julian.
I wouldn't just say 3. Actually, I'd say about 5. I mean, me and Sugar had nightmares, but when I look back, he was a straight up guy. He's a street fighter, so I respected that in him. That he started with nothing and he built it up. Wenger and Dean. Rick Parry at Liverpool. He's a very quiet guy, but he was a straight guy. But anyway, Dean and Wenger just chipped away at me, right? Because they couldn't speak to him.
Yeah.
So, and they realised that I was his confidant, I was his representative, and they kept chipping away at me. And so, David Dean would say, well, when are we going to have a conversation? And I'd be like, not at the moment. And I must have said that to him 5-6 times. And then eventually we get into May, and then there's I think Sol only ever come to like one meeting. I dealt with everything else, where Arsene put his case forward, David Dean put his case forward, and then after that it was back to them just dealing with me. And I think that they maybe got a bit frustrated, but they kept their eye on the prize, because as long as he hadn't signed for someone else, they were...
He's still there, up for grabs.
Yeah, and right up until the night before, me and Sol were talking, right?
So
about
you didn't sign, the deal wasn't signed until the night before it was announced?
No. The deal was, on the day the deal was done, the night before, me and him were still talking about whether or not he should do it.
And when was the deal done?
So that day?
That day.
Oh, wow.
What?
The day it was announced was the day
on July the 3rd?
Well, that was the day, that was the day he signed, yeah?
Yeah.
But like a few days before, we had the parameters of a deal, right?
Okay. So it was a gentleman's agreement a few days before, but actually signed on the day it was announced.
Yeah. I mean, we would, me and David Dean would walk around places. We would walk on the street because I was super confidential, and I was like,
you must have been, because none of us knew.
Yeah, I was like, you know, me and him would walk around the garden, or we would talk. I think he respected that I didn't just want to make this decision lightly. Sorry, I rephrased that. He understood that Sol wasn't going to make the decision lightly, and that me as his advisor, he could see that it was a really tough situation where, you know, you wouldn't blame someone for going to Barcelona and taking double, but then, you know, you're thinking, well, football-wise, I can win the Premier League here.
Yeah.
And it was vindicated because in his first season, he won the double.
He won the double, and he became invincible.
Yeah, but Arsene Wenger was like different class, you know, to me. So Sol would ask me, what was he like? What was David Dean like? I say, you know, different class, you know. Wenger was a guy that I looked at and I thought, wow, you know, he isn't just a coach. You know, he's a mentor.
Sure.
He was interested in people's lives. He was, you know, subsequently afterwards, you know, I'm not someone to keep calling people and all of this. You know, after the deal was done, Arsene would say to him, "Where have you been? Why aren't you coming to see me?" Because anyone that knew him would every opportunity go in there, and I was just like, you know, this is business. Sol's got a job to do. But I do remember that on the day the deal was done and all the furore, I was in the changing room with Sol, and he was sat there in his Arsenal kit, and he said to me, "Yeah, this was the right decision."